Welcome to The Deal, a podcast dedicated to maximizing name, image, and likeness opportunities. You'll hear from student athletes, coaches, and athletic administrators on how NIL partnerships can impact individuals and the schools they attend. It all comes down to making the best deal.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Deal. This is the NIL podcast where student athletes, administrators, and coaches can learn about NIL deals, the benefits, and how to get started. My name is Paige Salveter, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Athletics Communications at the NAIA National Office here in downtown Kansas City. This podcast is brought to you by our partner, Opendorse, the world's leading athlete influencer platform. And today I am super jazzed because we've got a dynamic duo, Syljebeck, and also her partner in crime, Sam Bartelotti. They are joining us from one of our NAIA campuses, Siena Heights, which is located in Adrian, Michigan. Welcome, Sue, and welcome, Sam. I'd love for you all to just introduce yourselves, who you are, how long you've been with the NAIA, and why the heck are you on this podcast today?
Well, great. Thank you for having us. Like you said, I'm our athletic director at Siena Heights University. I'm going into my 20th year working for Siena. I actually coached basketball, came here to coach basketball, and then was moved into assistant AD, associate AD, and now athletic directors and basketball, still going into my 5th year. So first time with the NAIA, clearly loved it. So I'm still staying here for 20 years. So
love to hear that.
Thanks for having us, Paige. I'm Samantha Bartelotti. I am currently our SWL and Athletic Operations Manager here at Siena Heights University. This is my first year in the SWL role, and in the previous 2 years, I was the Athletic Operations Manager.
But she's not telling you, she's also a former athlete.
Okay. What sport?
Women's soccer. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
All-American, I might say.
Love it. Okay, modesty here.
Yeah.
Sam, as a senior woman leader, which is a newly appointed position on each one of our campuses, actually just was mandated in August of 2023, just a couple of months ago. We are super excited to have you on today as well, being one of our newly elevated female administrators on our different campuses. So I'm glad to hear your perspective too. And my understanding, Sam, is that you're also incredibly close to Opendorse and maybe even helping drive that initiative on your campus.
Yep, absolutely. I've partnered with Opendorse when we first started a year ago, kindly with our monthly meeting with Katie Wilkins from Opendorse and kind of working through with her on this new project.
So Sue, I got to kind of do a throwback here. My understanding is we've got some really dynamic women in the NAIA. And didn't you play some basketball back in the day with one of our first female commissioners, Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes?
I did. True story. We were teammates for 2 years. We rolled into University of New Orleans together, and obviously she was still down there, but now moved into commissioner role, but AD of Dillard for a long time and really helped them, recover back from the storm, the hurricane. But yeah, we actually had a big game, good season. And she was the 3 guard. I was one of the post players and the upset number. I think they were number 2 or 3 in the country at the time. So
nice.
It was pretty fun.
Awesome. Well, I would love to just kind of learn about your story with Opendorse. It seems like you all actually started the NIL movement right when we passed legislation. So how about one of you guys kind of take us a little through what does that history look like with your partnership with Opendorse, and how have you really educated your student athletes in this platform?
Yeah, once it came through and we had heard it at convention, we attend the convention. And knew that it was passing as a team, Sam and I and my other assistant AD, Scott Oliver, and then our other administrator, manager operations just really met, and we felt it was important to allow our students or give our students an opportunity. I'm sure most NAIA schools, your athletes aren't there on full everything, full tuition, full housing. They pay a little bit. So we were trying to figure out a way. And then this popped up to at least help defray some of the costs, or even give them some extra spending money to do what they need to do with it. And so when this popped up, we contracted with Opendorse and had a pretty good successful first year with it. And so then we renewed our membership through them. They were great. They really took us step by step. We did the big thing that I think was an advantage for our program and our athletes is we made it mandatory that all our athletes hop on a big conference, a Zoom call, if you would, or a Teams call. And we did that, and the managing partner there went through what it looks like to have an appropriate account, what it looks like, what you really need to do. Make sure you go back and take, if there's any inappropriate content out, if there is, or at least it would alert us as a member that, hey, this, Sam Bartelotti maybe has some inappropriate pictures or vocabulary on there. So, and most of our athletes signed up for it, and we had how many disclosures, Kim or Sam?
Over 75.
So we had over 75.
Oh, wow.
Over 75 for year one. And so we were real excited about that. We've not jumped back on it. I know it's October 1st, basically. But we have to get our new incoming class, really registered on it. They have the emails, but I know a lot of them are like, what's this mean? And so we have to do some education for them on that. But we are going to do that with the new people and the new athletes. And then we're going to have a educational session on how to maneuver through the marketplace.
Nice. Well, you could also, tell them about the deal, the podcast. So I will tell you, from anywhere from student athletes, like, I don't even know how to get started, to Opendorse has come on and they've shared like the 5 top tips of how to start your profile. So feel free to share some of the episodes with your student athletes. That's the whole purpose. And what we're trying to do is just educate those who maybe haven't thought that they could get a deal. And knowing that you started with over 70 of your student athletes on Opendorse, do you know about how many you have currently on today?
Well, we had more than 70 athletes on there. Those were the ones that actually got deals. We had 70 athletes that got deals. I think we ended up getting over 400 athletes in our.
Yeah, I make it a point at the beginning of the year to kind of clean up our rosters on Opendorse and make sure that all of our athletes are getting that initial confirmation to sign up and kind of explore the Opendorse marketplace. So
nice. So Sam, are you the one that does the continuing education then, or kind of how do you guys tag team on this initiative?
Yeah, our monthly meetings with Opendorse have been very helpful. Oftentimes they'll send me one pagers, or if a lot of times our coaches are the ones that want to learn more, just so they can help educate their athletes as well. So just those one pagers from Opendorse, monthly meetings and all of that have been very helpful. Nice.
What would you tell other athletics directors, coaches, SWLs, and the NAIA? What would be some advice you'd like to give to them? Because when I looked at our numbers the other day, we're showing through Opendorse, a little over 1,500 have actually disclosed through Opendorse, but we're also learning through this podcast that many student athletes are actually getting deals, but maybe they're not going through Opendorse. What would you say to some other administrators or student athletes how to get started, or is it easy? Is it difficult, or just any advice you give to them?
I think Opendorse made it real easy for us. I think that's been really helpful. I actually have a former athlete. Her husband works in the NIL as well in a private company for bigger schools. So that his leadership to help us get started. But then there's so much more information out there. So I think that's the case. I don't want to tell all athletic directors there, but I really think it's a recruiting advantage. Even though we did it to help our student athletes, it can be a recruiting advantage as well. Obviously, as you heard, I still coach basketball, and some of the women recruits that come in here actually ask about that. Now, whether or not they're not going to make, well, they haven't yet on our campus, I should say that, the lucrative deals of $1 million signing with Nike or Puma or not, but there's still money to be made out there for, especially, some of small, if you're in a smaller town or a bigger city where there's so many companies that really want to be influenced by a student athlete. And we share, we give our athletes, as long as there's there's a protocol, but they can use our facilities for it. As permission, as long as it's appropriate, we allow them to use our appropriate logos. We upload photos that we have when our photographer comes. We upload photos in the area in Opendorse. There's a picture and logos section for them. So we're trying to give them here at Siena all the tools that they can go out to use those things. And then we do tell our athletes, so if they're ever used inappropriately, then we'd pull back some things. But I haven't seen that yet, and I think most of our student athletes are really appreciative of the opportunity. Sam, do you have anything to add?
It's been a super simple onboarding process. I think the most difficult part was creating the rules and policies for our students and making sure those were in place before we gave the students access to their accounts and all of that.
Would that be something, since you all already have that created, that you'd want to maybe even share on our landing page for other NAIA institutions to see how you put together your rules and regulations?
Yeah, I think we actually have it on our website. So yeah, I can share that to share that to your link, or if anybody, wants to reach out through you page or us, feel free, anybody can feel free. But, when we first started, we had to make sure it was legal in our state,
Right.
So we had a match. So the person I used was from Tennessee area, but then I had to pull some of the bigger schools from so when we made those processes, we pulled Michigan States or Michigans, and so we can make sure we had some of that appropriate legal language in there on that side. And then we did run it by our university council and whatnot to make sure president's cabinet that it was acceptable for them as well.
Nice. Yeah, I think, the more that we can share with others, I think the more our student athletes are going to benefit. And I would like to hear a little bit more of what does your pitch look like then when you're talking to either a future basketball player on your roster or anyone else in the athletics department and your other coaches on the recruiting aspect of it? I've heard that a few times, but what does that look like, and how is, what's a differentiator for you versus, going to an NCAA school? I mean, do you have something that you feel like is more prominent with the NAIA opportunities versus NCAA?
I don't know if it's NCAA, but obviously we do have an NCAA Division III school in our same town. So I don't know if it's that. I mean, to be truthful, Siena Heights right now is not going to compete against Michigan State or Michigan, more than likely. But Division II schools for sure, maybe walk on to the NCAA schools, Division I's. But I know the fact that we talk about that, we offer it. That we have that, and then that we care about them to have the opportunity to make some money. And we are putting our student athletes first in that capacity, and understanding, like I started off earlier, that most students are paying something to come to probably all of our schools, a little bit, whether it's housing or books or something. And I'm saying most, I'm sure there's some that get, maybe get some pretty good, but so that's where we understand that there's a cost to attend Siena Heights, but we're having some of these things in place to help you. And, when you go on other visits, maybe that's a question you should ask. And we have a partnership and a contract it, and then we run the story so people know that, that's the case. And it's not just go out and find it on your own. We actually have a platform that helps you be more successful.
Nice. But, my understanding too, it's not that it's the kids that are necessarily the best athlete, the top athlete. Can anyone on your campus benefit, even if they're not the top athlete on that roster?
Absolutely. I think quite a few of our teams, it's not always just, the star athlete of that team, or that program. But really any athlete can make these deals happen.
It's funny, one of our top, because NIL is looking for, especially companies, they're looking to see how many hits or followers, on Twitter, which is now X, right? Formerly Twitter, now X. I don't even know. We joke, I said, do I tweet or do I X? I'm not sure, but that's okay. I can get clarification on that later. But, how many followers on Instagram or TikTok, and, so they're looking for that. But ironically, on our campus, one of our esport athletes has one of the most followers, because this is the sports world, playing League of Legends, Rocket League, the video game world, has quite a few followers and has made a few of the deals, one of our bigger deals on our campus. So
I love that. So do you see any kind of prevalence between female and male, or is it kind of equal in gender, or just, I mean, esports obviously is both, it's a co-ed league, right?
Yeah, it's co-ed on our campus. We predominantly have more males on the team. But yeah, so, and I think, I like I said, I've had a women's basketball player that had some deals, that we've had a men's basketball, work with I think it was like a physical therapy company. They just posted with their t-shirt on it in the weight room on the basketball court, so it really just depends who wants to, look up on the marketplace to see. And most of the deals come from them searching, but some people have reached out to our athletes. And I think for us, we live in a smaller town, or smaller city, I guess. So, sometimes our athletes, they know our athletes more than maybe a bigger city, and they don't have another competing a big team to play with, to compete against. So we are the sports team in our town.
That's great. This is really interesting. And I love hearing some of the schools that have been some of the first. We had the Cumberlands on last week, and I think they were the very first to partner with Opendorse, and you must have been number 2, because I think just everyone's been kind of like slowly getting on the bandwagon. But what we're understanding too, I think some of the fears too is athletics, right? Administrators, you guys are pulled in so many different directions. It's hard to think like, can I take on one more thing? But I think that's what's so cool about Opendorse is they handle all that administrative and educational opportunities. They've got the system set up. And so my advice would be, from what I'm hearing from you all, is that it's really not that difficult when you do partner with them. And then my understanding too is that the financial partnership side of things is very inexpensive. So I don't know if you all have anything to share with that as well.
Yeah, that was my worry is, for my administration, was them, that we were spending money from our department for our athletes to get money back, and so that was just a little bit, just needed to be one conversation. I'm like, yeah, I understand that, like some universities say, like, why are you spending money for them to in them? But I'm like, it's helping us ultimately, potentially, for them to pay some of their bills or buy their books. But I said, also, you got $2,000 potentially of just tell me how much you spent on a billboard potentially going down a highway or whatnot, in the marketing. That marketing is taking care of itself. Like, even if if your student athletes don't get a deal, the fact that not that they don't, or they don't try, go out to marketplace, that marketing, because Opendorse is they're listing you out there, you tag them, you have it, but your student athletes are going to find money and find deals. And so my hope, be truthful, our goal was to have our athletes make at least the cost of it, and we made well over that, so that was exciting for them, and it was an easy renewal for my administration once they knew that, and then it was really for the student athletes to have an opportunity to make a little money and get a little bit.
Right.
Along the way, we're getting marketing. Like, it's free. It's not free marketing dollars, but it's pretty cheap marketing dollars. And what you said was the other second worry for me was the reporting issue. I'm like, gosh, I got to do this. I got to report it. Right. We got to put it all through their taxes. And if they do the deals through there, then it goes right to the office. Right.
Nice.
So yeah, we left that convention, not this past year, but the year before. And we knew we were going to, go ahead and go on with it. So that was exciting. And they've been very helpful. I think their partnership is what's made it so smooth.
That's great. Any other things you'd like to share with our listeners or our viewers, because we'll be on YouTube and on a podcast. So anything else you'd like to share, just educational wise, especially being, trailblazers in this initiative?
If any coaches or athletic administrators ever have any questions about Opendorse or how we follow the way we do things, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to help.
My other thing would be we've really stressed that we have handbook meetings that we go through with each team in the first part of the year. We try to get in front of the teams, myself or my assistant athletic director, Sam, and really talk to them. We talk to them about this, but in the same breath of the social media that we're all dealing with and what to post and what's appropriate. So that was, that's just, and again, I haven't had any issues with Opendorse and inappropriate posting, but it actually is a nice to get a clean sweep of stuff because they run their accounts. Once you make if I join as an athlete and I have Twitter and Instagram, and that's the 2 accounts that I put up that I want to them allow it, they'll screen it for you, and so then they'll let the student athlete know what's on there and stuff, so they have the opportunity to change it. So it's a win-win in that category too, whether they're making a penny or not, but just represent our institution.
Well, that sounds great. I'm so glad to hear that things are going well with you guys both on your campus and your sports and being the athletics director. And we are in the fall season, so I'm sure you guys are very busy. So I want to, start to wrap this up because I bet you got to head off to practice here in a minute. I'm just guessing.
I do. I'm watching the clock. We usually go in the morning, but I got a normal time today, so that's nice.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for your time, and I would like to just tell everybody, tune again to another episode of The Deal coming soon.